Can sex on the first date ruin a potential relationship? In most cases, it doesn't change the inevitable outcome, because if someone was dating you with the intention of commitment and a relationship, then it wouldn't matter in most cases. Blaming it on that gives the person an easy out to blame it on having sex too early versus admitting that odds are a relationship was most likely never on the table in the first place. It's less that sex on the first date will ruin a potential relationship, but you run the risk of getting sucked into a relationship that was never a good match to begin with. Sex clouds everyone's judgment. No, but you can attach too fast through good sex and not notice red flags. In my opinion, no. I had an 8-year-long relationship, even got married and had a son with a girl I had sex on the first date with. Those rules or more your results may vary depending on the people. If it's someone who actually wants a relationship with you from the start, not likely. If it's someone who's just interested in you for sex, yep. Intimacy is the most vulnerable act one can do, and giving it to a stranger you just met on one date isn't ideal. You want to get to know him, connect with him in a deeper level, learn what he likes in bed and off bed. Find out his favorite music or what other activities he likes to do. The more you form a bond with him, and the more you can trust him, and the better the sex will be. If you do decide to do it, just don't take him to your home for sex, rent a hotel. Once he knows where you live, and you decide to separate ways in the future, for God knows why, you will have all sorts of problems if he decides to show up to your home whenever he likes. It's probably not a good idea to have sex with someone on the first date. I mean, do you really know that person is the question? I personally wouldn't. I had a 10-year marriage and 2 kids with sex on the first date guy. So no, if the relationship potential is there, then it won't matter. I prefer to let the sexual tension build. Most of the time, yes. Men mostly just want sex. I had sex with my wife before ever taking her on a date. We were friends for a while before that in different relationships. We both become available around the same time. We both had eyes for each other, and it felt different. Now we're married 16 years with a 9-year-old kid and great careers. So sometimes it's different, but be honest with yourself. It doesn't ruin it, but it doesn't necessarily help either. I've had a fair amount of first date sex and got nowhere close to a relationship with any of them. It takes time to build a connection and a desire to move into a relationship, and more often than not, sex isn't going to get you there any quicker, because that kind of connection is rare, where 2 people attracted to each other on a date is common. It's either going to work or it isn't. I think people use maybe we slept together too soon as a reason, because often, one party will get attached mainly due to the sexual experience and the other won't, which makes one person feel they've moved too fast because now I'm drawn in more and the other person is still let's see. It generally ruins it. There are exceptions to the rule, and I promise some Redditor is going to cite their long marriage to the person they screwed on their first date, but this isn't the norm. The way the other person views you changes drastically from potential mate to evening fun. It puts the cart before the horse. Sex is generally a bit awkward the first time you have it with a new person, even if you were experienced. Bad sex, which is what it usually is, means no second date. I don't know what the statistics are, but less than a quarter of relationships started with sex on the first date, and for heterosexuals, the numbers are lower than homosexuals in relationship success after first date hookups. Women's Health cited a survey that only 10 of first date hookups leads to exclusive relationships. Anecdotally, I think it's smarter to wait. Most people use sex on their first date to determine if the person is right for them or not. But we all know that there will be try and error when it comes to sex in order to find common ground, but not always. Attraction by itself is not enough to have a sustainable relationship, but most people, no matter the gender, feel an emotional connection after sex. I know that's not what is said by media, and there are some cold people out there, but a majority feel something. If you feel a connection before you find out if they are a match for other things, then it's a recipe for disaster. Sex wouldn't ruin anything. If the person already knew they just wanted sex and decided to give the impression they were seeking a relationship, that's what ruins. Lying about one's intentions. Because you're not emotionally close to the person, you're putting physical intimacy first, when emotional intimacy should be first. At least to some people it should be. Because you commit immediately to a sense as far as actual accountability, owning up to it, when it happened, circumstances. If you don't get to know them well enough, they can flip out on you whenever it's convenient for you about all the consent stuff. And also, it's defeatist. You've already done so much because it mattered to both of you so little. The sky's the limit, except when you started you didn't care. It depends. With current GF we didn't have sex for a month, mainly because of other things beyond our control, but we did spend the time getting to know each other first. Correct, either can make a move. It's up to the individuals. For me, if I have great sex with someone I already have an interest in, that's just going to encourage me to pursue it even more. Sexual chemistry is very important to me in a relationship. Now if the sex is bad or mediocre, this could derail things before they really get started. But as I regularly repeat, how quickly sex happens with a woman has no effect on my interest level or respect for her.